Jai Gurudev. I hope you spent the week contemplating on the Brahman consciousness and how we are all just one organism. We'll go ahead with page 318, where Kumbha continues on the same thought and explains a little more in detail, and Sikhidwaja asks a few more questions.
Kumbha said, "That which has no seed, cause, and which is indescribable is therefore not the cause of another. Naught is born of that. Hence, the self is neither the doer, nor the action, nor the instrument. It is the truth. It is the eternal absolute consciousness. It is self-knowledge. There is no creation in the Supreme Brahman. One may theoretically establish the arising and the existence of a wave in the ocean on the basis of time, of its arising and space in which it seems to exist as a wave. But who has tried to establish even such a relationship between Brahman and the creation? For in Brahman, time and space do not exist. Thus, the world has no basis at all." Shikidvaja said, "Surely one can rationalize the existence of waves in the ocean, but I do not understand how is it that the world and the ego sense are uncaused." Kumbha said, "Now you have correctly understood the truth, O king. That is because there is in fact no reality which corresponds to the words world and ego sense. Just as emptiness or the notion of distance exists, non-different from space, even so this world appearance exists in the Supreme Being or infinite consciousness, whether in the same form or with another form. When thus the reality of this world is well understood, then it is realized as the Supreme Self, Shiva. When rightly understood, even poison turns into nectar. When it is not thus rightly understood, it becomes evil, Ashivam, the world of sorrow. For whatever this consciousness realizes itself to be, that it becomes, it is because of a confusion in the self that this consciousness sees itself as embodied and as the world. It is that Supreme Self alone that shines here as the Supreme Being, Shivam. Hence, the very questions concerning the world and the ego sense are inappropriate. Surely, questions are appropriate only concerning those substances that are real, not with regard to those whose existence is unproved. The world and the ego sense have no existence independent of the Supreme Self. Since there is no reason for their existence, the truth is that it is the Supreme Self alone that exists. It is the energy of Brahman, Maya, that has created this illusion by the combination of the 5 elements. But consciousness remains consciousness and is realized by consciousness. Diversity is perceived by the notion of diversity. The infinite raises infinity within itself. The infinite creates infinity. Infinite is born of infinity, and infinity remains infinite. Consciousness shines as consciousness."
Let's continue the discussion on page 319, as it is not a separate topic.
Kumbha said, "In the case of gold, it may be said that at a certain time and at a certain place it gave rise to an ornament. But from the self, which is absolute peace, nothing is created and nothing ever returns to it. Brahman rests in itself. Hence it is neither the seed nor the cause for the creation of the world, which is a matter of mere experience. Apart from this experience, nothing exists which could be referred to as the world or the ego sense. Therefore, the infinite consciousness alone exists." Shikidvaja said, "I realize, O sage, that in the Lord there is neither world nor the ego sense. But how do the world and the ego sense shine as if they exist? Kumbha replied, indeed, it is the infinite which, beginningless and endless, exists as pure experiencing consciousness. That alone is this expanded universe, which is its body, as it were. There is no other substance known as the intellect, nor is there an outside nor void. The essence of existence is pure experiencing, which is therefore the essence of consciousness. Just as liquidity exists inseparable from water, consciousness and unconsciousness exist together. There is no rationale for such existence, for what is as it is. Since there is neither a contradiction nor a division in consciousness, it is self-evident. If the infinite consciousness is the cause of something else, then how can it be nor a seed? What then shall we regard as the effect? It is therefore inappropriate to associate the creation with Brahman and to associate the inert with the infinite consciousness. If there appears to be a world of ego sense, these are but empty words meant to entertain. Consciousness is not destroyed. However, if such destruction can be comprehended, the consciousness that comprehends it is free from destruction and creation. If such destruction can be comprehended, it is surely the trick of consciousness. Hence, consciousness alone exists, neither one nor many. Enough of this discussion. When thus there is no material existence, thinking does not exist either. There is neither a world nor the ego sense. Remain well established in peace and tranquility, peace from mental conditioning, whether you are embodied or disembodied. When the reality of Brahman is realized, there is no room for worry and anxiety.
Okay. We'll start with page 318. That which has no seed means no cause, and which is indescribable is therefore not the cause of another, not is born of that. Means basically one that has no motivation, no cause, no reason, how can it produce an effect? It would not produce an effect. Yeah. So there is no cause and effect at all. Hence, the self is neither the doer, nor the action, nor the instrument. So basically, there is no doer and there is no doing. No cause, no effect. No action doer, no action. No karta, no karma. It is self-knowledge. There is no creation in the Supreme Brahman. One may theoretically establish the arising and the existence of a wave in the ocean on the basis of time of its arising and space in which it seems to exist as a wave. But who has tried to establish even such a relationship between Brahman and the creation? For in Brahman, time and space do not exist only. So where will you say is the beginning of creation, or there is a creator, or that the creation comes up and goes down at this time? Because time does not exist. Time is created by us. Yeah. Thus the world has no basis at all. Yeah, this paragraph is just a repetition of what we did last week in the last 2 pages. Sikhi Dhwaja said, surely one can rationalize the existence of waves in the ocean, but I do not understand how it is that the world and the ego sense are uncaused. Yeah, so he's just talking about this ego. Yeah, chalo, forget the world also. Ego, I, it is caused, no? it happened because of Maya. So you can say Maya caused ego to happen. Then how can you say ego sense is uncaused? How can you say there is nothing like ego? Kumbha said, now you have correctly understood the truth, O king. That is because there is in fact no reality which corresponds to the words world and ego sense. Just as emptiness or the notion of distance exists, non-different from space, even so this world appearance exists in the Supreme Being or infinite consciousness, whether in the same form or with another form. You say there is emptiness here, okay? There is nothing in this big room, this huge log cabin room. There is nothing, it's empty space. So you have equated emptiness and space. You're saying the space is empty. So emptiness and space are existing together. You just said that? Yeah? Just like that, this world appearance is a part of the Brahman consciousness. Just like the heart is a part of this organism. Like that, the world appearance is a part of that Brahman consciousness. It is not different from it. Whether it is the same form or another form, it doesn't matter. When thus the reality of this world is well understood, then it is realized as the Supreme Self or Shiva. So here we are learning a new term now. There is Shiva, which is the Supreme Self, and he is also going to talk about a Shiva. When rightly understood, even poison turns into nectar. When it is not thus rightly understood, it becomes evil or a Shivam, the world of sorrow. Question for you. Is your world full of sorrow? Or have you attained that peace that a sage, a rishi, somebody who is always adhering to scriptures attains? Have you attained Shiva or have you attained a Shiva? It is because of a confusion in the self that this consciousness sees itself as embodied and as the world. It's very simple. It's like dreaming. How you get all confused in a dream? You feel, oh, it is all real. You feel that you are an animal and you are going and trying to attack some other plant or tree, and then suddenly the tree has wings and it starts flying in the sky, and then that flying tree turns into an angel and it casts a spell on you, some magic, and then you turn into another human or whatever, and you start flying in the sky, and then you shower arrows and some nonsense, and you believe your nonsense that you're really seeing in your dream. It is so real. You actually are sweating and scared and fearful as if it is really happening. Yeah? But when you wake up, it just shatters in a moment. But when you are there, it is solid, it is real. Yes? Just like that. Right now, you are in this world illusion. You are in this dream world. And it is very solid. It is real for you right now. And the only way to snap out of it is to wake up to the truth. And only you can wake up. Even if somebody tries to wake you up, unless you have the will to wake up, you will not be able to wake up. I have been really trying that for a very long time. Really shaking you. Wake up, but you are closing your eyes, you're pretending, no, I don't want to wake up. You are enjoying your dream. accept this truth. The day you learn to accept, yes, I am not ready to wake up. I have not accepted that I need to drop this world which is illusionary. The day that acceptance comes, you will have walked one step forward. Yeah. But till the time you don't accept only that I am not ready to open my eyes, there is no chance for you to get out of this bondage. No chance. Yeah. So ask yourself this question. Are you ready yet to drop the world and drop this illusion? It is that Supreme Self alone that shines here as the Supreme Being or Shiva, Shivam. Hence, the very questions concerning the world and the ego sense are inappropriate. Surely, questions are appropriate only concerning those substances that are real, not with regard to those whose existence is unproved. The world and ego sense have no existence independent of the Supreme Self. Since there is no reason for their existence, the truth is that it is the Supreme Self alone that exists. Very, very clear? I am dreaming. I have closed my eyes and I am seeing an Ekta which is flying in the sky. Yeah. And I question, how? How is that untrue? Ekta has wings. That Ekta flying in the sky, that dream, could not have been possible without this Ekta, the real Ekta who is dreaming. Correct? So the only truth is that this Ekta exists, the one who is dreaming. The dream does not exist. It is a figment of imagination of this Ekta. Do you get it? There are no wings. There is no flying in the sky. Yeah, that never happened. That is not real. The only reality is the one who is lost in the dream. The self that came out of that Brahman consciousness, out of that pool, is confused, is super disillusioned right now. It thinks all this is real. The only reality, the only truth is that consciousness, the self, the Supreme Self. That's it. Have you recognized that you are that Supreme Self? Or are you still lost in this dream? It's okay as a beginner if initially you get lost in the dream again and again because of the past momentum. But do you come back to reality, to the truth, every now and then and get centered here? Does that happen? Or are you still getting lost and just staying in that dream world for days and days together? If you are, then I think you really need to become more and more strict with yourself. Bring yourself to this truth more often with the help of knowledge. Knowledge is like a sword, and this sword cuts the cobwebs of Maya. But if I don't use this sword, I keep it over there. Beautiful sword, golden sword, full of diamonds, lovely sword, and I keep praying and singing songs. Beautiful sword, beautiful sword. I'm not going to get anywhere. Are you seeing what I'm saying? By you just reading the scripture and praising Vasistha, that's what you are doing. You are just praising the sword and singing songs for the swords and dancing. It's not going to get you anywhere, darling. You must have the courage to pick up that sword and cut the cobwebs of Maya, which means again and again come to reality. Come to the truth as it is. Again and again the mind will take you back into that illusion, delusion because of its past momentum. But you come back. Again pick up the sword, cut the cobwebs, come back. Again it will take you, again pick up the sword, again cut the cobwebs, again come back. Very important, this has to be an incessant effort. Just like when you were a little child and you would just not listen to your mom and you would run away on the street. Again your mom would come running behind you, pick you up, bring you back into the safety of the home. Again you would run on the street, again she would go back out, bring you in and lock you in the room. Again you would find a way to jump out the window, again go out, again she would bring you back. She took care, right? How many ever times she had to do it, she would do it till you understood the importance of being inside a safe room and not just wandering away on the streets. And she gave you that much time, no? How much time you took to mature? Just like that, your mind is a little baby and it keeps running away. It has just learned to run. Yeah? And it wants to experiment running here, running there. Your job is to be a good mommy or a daddy and pull that mind back into the safety of the house. You see what I'm saying? Start applying knowledge. Just reading knowledge will not do it. Yeah. It is that Supreme Self alone that shines here as the Supreme Being Shivam. Hence, the very questions concerning the world and the ego sense are inappropriate. Surely, questions are appropriate only concerning those substances that are real, not with regard to those whose existence is unproved. The world and the ego sense have no existence independent of the Supreme Self. We understood till here very clearly? Since there is no reason for their existence, the truth is that it is the Supreme Self alone that exists. It is the energy of Brahman, Maya, that has created this illusion by the combination of the 5 elements. But consciousness remains consciousness and is realized by consciousness. This is so amazing. Diversity is perceived by the notion of diversity. The infinite raises infinity within itself. The infinite creates infinity. Infinite is born of infinity, and infinity remains infinite. Consciousness shines as consciousness. Beautiful poetic way to end that page. In that case of gold, it may be said that at a certain time and a certain place, it gave rise to an ornament. But from the self which is absolute peace, nothing is created and nothing ever returns to it. Yeah? Just like your dream, nothing is really created. Yeah? Nothing gets destroyed. Yeah? But from the self which is absolute peace, nothing is created and nothing ever returns to it. Brahman rests in itself. Hence, it is neither the seed nor the cause for the creation of the world, which is a matter of mere experience. Apart from this experience, nothing exists which could be referred to as the world or the ego sense. Therefore, the infinite consciousness alone exists. We understood this very clearly. Yeah? It is only the self. Ekta is dreaming about the wings, but that dream is not real. Yeah? What is real is only Ekta, because Ekta is dreaming. Like that only, it is the self that has started dreaming about this world appearance. Yeah? Only the self the Brahman consciousness is real. Sikhidwaja said, I realize, O sage, that in the Lord there is neither world nor the ego sense. But how do the world and the ego sense shine as if they exist? Then why? Why does a dream seem so real, you would say? Why? Kumbha replied, indeed, it is the infinite which, beginningless and endless, exists as pure experiencing consciousness. That alone is this expanded universe, which is its body, as it were. There is no other substance known as the intellect, nor is there an outside nor void. The essence of existence is pure experiencing, which is therefore the essence of consciousness. Just as liquidity exists inseparable from water, consciousness and unconsciousness exist together. There is no rationale for such existence, for what is as it is. Since there is neither a contradiction nor a division in consciousness, it is self-evident. If the infinite consciousness is the cause of something else, then how can it be regarded as indescribable and incomparable? The moment something gives rise to something else, I can describe this thing, but it is indescribable, it is incomparable. There is no cause, there is no effect. Hence, Brahman is neither a cause nor a seed. What then shall we regard as the effect? It is therefore inappropriate to associate the creation with Brahman and to associate the inert with the infinite consciousness. If there appears to be a world or ego sense, these are but empty words meant to entertain. Consciousness is not destroyed. However, if such destruction can be comprehended, the consciousness that comprehends it is free from destruction and creation. If such destruction can be comprehended, it is surely the trick of consciousness. Hence, consciousness alone exists, neither one nor many. Enough of this discussion. It's just a repetition of what has been said again and again. That all there is the Brahman consciousness. There is nothing else outside of it. Even if you try to understand that consciousness got created in the form of world appearance and consciousness got destroyed, this is just a trick of the consciousness. It is a dream. In reality, nothing is created and nothing is destroyed. Everything just is. What is, is. When thus there is no material existence, thinking does not exist either. This is another thing that you need to highlight. Thinking does not exist either. There is neither a world nor the ego sense. Remain well established in peace and tranquility, free from mental conditioning, whether you are embodied or disembodied. This is beautiful, huh? He's not talking only to the embodied people listening to Yoga Vasistha. He's also talking to the disembodied souls around you in your own room and telling them you remain well established in peace and tranquility, free from mental conditioning. When the reality of Brahman is realized, there is no room for worry and anxiety. I leave you with this. Contemplate on this. Thinking does not exist. Thinking does not exist. And this message is for all, the embodied ones and the disembodied ones listening. Because your thinking is what causes mental conditioning. Your mental conditioning is nothing but your ragas and dveshas. And your ragas and dveshas are the bondage that bring you back into the cycle of birth and death again and again. So whether you're embodied or disembodied, this is an important thing for you to contemplate. That the only way for me to get out of this cycle of birth and death is to realize that my mental conditioning, ego sense, all this intellectual analysis, all this logic does not exist. Thinking does not exist. I leave you with that thought, and I will see you next week. Jai Gurudev.